So imagine you secure the contract of a lifetime. You're going to build the Obama Presidential Library.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a massive deal.
Right. It's historic. But then you realize that actually doing the work might bankrupt your local business.
Because the middleman just won't cut the check.
Exactly. I mean, you pour the concrete, you install the wiring, you put all the sweat into a monument in your own community, but weeks go by and then months.
And the money just never arrives.
Yeah. The prestigious job you thought would, elevate your company is suddenly the exact thing threatening to destroy it.
It's just a brutal paradox, really. I mean, that is the reality at the heart of these massive marquee construction projects.
Which is crazy to think about.
It is. Because the public, we just see the gleaming architectural renderings and the historic legacy. But behind the chain link fences, the financial mechanics are so volatile.
Very volatile.
Yeah, and that volatility can easily crush the smaller players who are out there doing the actual physical labor.
And that stark contrast is our exact mission for today's deep dive. We are taking a highly specific, very potent piece of source material, an excerpt titled "Demanding Justice for Black Contractors at the Obama Library."
It's a brief text, but man, it is explosive.
It really is. And we are going to dissect the incredibly complex web of accountability in the construction industry. For you listening, we really want to pull back the curtain on how capital flows on these mega projects.
Or, more accurately, how it gets bottlenecked.
Right, how it gets completely stuck.
Because understanding this dynamic, it requires looking way past the physical bricks and mortar. You have to analyze the power structures, the public relations strategies, and honestly, just the basic arithmetic of survival for small businesses.
Definitely. But hey, before we really get into the weeds, I want to set a clear baseline for you, the listener.
Good call.
Yeah. Today, we are strictly examining the claims, the demands, and the perspectives as they are presented by the National Black Contractors Association of America in our source text.
Right. We're just looking at their claims.
Exactly. We are not taking a political stance, and we are not endorsing either side of this specific dispute. Our goal is just to explore the mechanics of the conflict exactly as the source material outlines it.
Establishing that neutrality is so essential, we are basically performing an autopsy on a systemic breakdown, well, as alleged by the association, to figure out how the massive gears of this industry can just grind to a halt.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to make sense of the conflict, we first have to understand the hierarchy of who is actually on the construction site.
Right, it's not just a bunch of people showing up to build a library.
No, not at all. It's not one big happy family.
Yeah.
The industry operates on this strict three-tier system. So think of it like a massive wedding.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Right. So at the very top, you have the owner. They're the couple getting married. In this case, that's the foundation spearheading the Obama Library. They provide the massive pool of capital.
Yeah, they write the big checks, and then directly below the owner is the prime contractor.
The event planner, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And our source text identifies Turner Construction in this role. The prime contractor is the ultimate project manager. They don't necessarily pour every foundation themselves.
Right. They aren't the ones hanging the drywall.
No, they absorb the owner's capital and take on the logistical responsibility of managing the whole site.
Which brings us to the third tier, the florist, the caterers, the subcontractor.
The foundation of the whole pyramid.
Exactly. These are the specialized, often local businesses like the black contractors represented by the association in our text. They are hired by the prime contractor to execute the physical labor.
The electricians, the plumbers, the masons.
Right. So with that hierarchy in mind, the reality on the ground at the Obama Library project, according to our source, is a massive brewing storm.
A huge storm. The National Black Contractors Association of America is stepping directly into the spotlight here.
Yeah, with a very specific aggressive demand. They are saying Turner Construction must pay the unpaid black contractors who have already completed their work.
But they aren't just sending a quiet legal notice to Turner's accounting department. That's the key here.
Oh, not at all. They're preparing a highly visible public statement.
Yes, and they are actively coordinating with their Chicago affiliates to redirect intense public scrutiny onto this specific issue.
Bringing in those regional affiliates, it feels like a very calculated move. They clearly aren't trying to handle this behind closed doors.
No, because building a coalition is really the only way to generate enough friction to matter to a prime contractor of that size.
That makes total sense.
By mobilizing their Chicago affiliates, they're signaling that this isn't just an isolated billing error involving one disgruntled worker.
It's a united front.
Exactly. They were leveraging grassroots organization to turn a localized financial dispute into a highly public reputational threat.
But the text adds a really fascinating twist to their demands.
Right, it's not just about the money owed today.
No. The association isn't just saying, cut the check for this one project so we can go home. They are explicitly calling for future sanctions on companies like Turner for this specific type of behavior.
What's fascinating here is the escalation of their tactical approach. Demanding future sanctions frames the issue not as a clerical mistake, but as a deeply ingrained behavioral pattern.
Like it's a feature, not a bug.
Yes. If a subcontractor just settles quietly for their owed money, the broader system remains completely unchanged.
Right, the prime contractor just moves on.
Exactly. They can simply bid on the next multi-billion-dollar mega project and utilize the exact same administrative tactics with a new batch of local subcontractors.
Wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a sector.
Go for it.
When I hire someone to renovate my kitchen, I hold back the last portion of the payment until I am absolutely sure the cabinets are hung straight.
Right, standard practice.
Don't massive prime contractors withhold money for legitimate reasons?
Yeah.
Like, what if a subcontractor's work is delayed or the materials are subpar?
That tension is absolutely a core part of the industry. Quality control withholding is standard.
Okay, so why is this different?
Well, the source text isn't framing this as a routine dispute over the quality of a specific drywall installation. It points to a broader systemic issue.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the association's demand for future sanctions suggests they view the withholding not as legitimate quality control, but as an operational strategy, or a profound administrative failure that disproportionately harms these specific local businesses.
So they want to fundamentally alter the prime contractor's risk calculation.
Precisely. By demanding those future sanctions, they're trying to ensure that mismanaging subcontractors carries a punitive, long-term cost.
They want to make the prime contractor realize that failing to pay the local workforce won't just mean a few angry phone calls.
It will mean being locked out of future lucrative bids. It's an attempt to create deterrence where none currently exists.
Which brings us to a really compelling part of our source material. The text introduces a voice that completely flips how we usually think about blame in these scenarios.
Yes, Abdul Rahim Hamid.
Right. And he highlights a massive structural disconnect in the construction world's public relations.
His perspective is crucial. He forces us to look at where the public's anger actually lands when a massive project goes sideways.
Because he points out that when workers aren't getting paid, the major agencies and the owners of the project, the entities at the very top, are almost always the ones who take the hit.
In the court of public opinion, yes. The public naturally gravitates toward the most recognizable entity.
We like simple narratives.
We really do.
So what does this all mean? If you, listening to this right now, scroll past a negative headline about the Obama Library, your brain instinctively associates the controversy with the marquee name on the building.
You don't instinctively dig into the article to find the name of the middle management company.
Exactly. You don't care about the daily logistics company. You blame the foundation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Hamid is exposing a brilliant structural buffer that prime contractors operate behind.
It's an invisible shield.
It really is. He notes that the actual root cause of these specific crises, the reason the workers aren't getting paid, is the mismanagement or the improper execution of contracts handed down to the subcontractors.
The improper execution of contracts. Let's break down what that actually means on the ground.
It basically means the bureaucratic machinery fails the people doing the work.
Like paperwork issues.
Yeah, it could be poorly defined scopes of work, mismanaged payment schedules, or bureaucratic hurdles deliberately designed to slow down the release of funds.
So the prime contractor gets the money from the owner.
Right, the massive capital injection.
Mm.
But the administrative execution of filtering that money down to the subcontractors is handled improperly.
Man, it sounds like a vascular system.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right, like the owner pumps the lifeblood, the massive capital, into the main artery, which is the prime contractor.
Yes.
But if that main artery gets kinked due to administrative mismanagement, the blood never reaches the capillaries. The subcontractors are starved of oxygen.
That is a highly accurate way to visualize it. And Hamid's point is that while the capillaries are dying, the public is standing around blaming the heart for not pumping hard enough.
Completely ignoring the kink in the artery.
Exactly. The prime contractor manages the capital, but they operate entirely out of the glare of the marquee headlines.
It is an incredible public relations asymmetry. The corporate entities in the middle layer are basically shielded from the immediate visceral outrage.
They absorb the money, they control the site logistics.
But when the local community gets angry about unpaid wages, the owner takes the reputational damage.
This completely insulates the prime contractor from public pressure. I mean, if their corporate logo isn't plastered on the billboards facing the highway, they don't feel the heat of the community's gaze.
Right, they don't have a recognizable brand to protect in the eyes of the general public.
Which explains exactly why the National Black Contractors Association is taking the actions we discussed earlier.
Oh, I see it now. They are refusing to play into that asymmetry.
Yes. By coordinating with their affiliates and making highly public demands, specifically targeting Turner Construction, they are forcibly dragging the prime contractor out from behind that shield.
They are attempting to redirect the public's line of sight.
Telling the community, don't just look at the famous name on the building, look at the signatures on the subcontracts.
It is an effort to align the public relations consequences with the entities actually responsible for the administrative execution.
But, shielding a corporation from bad PR is just the cosmetic issue here.
Right, because the source material takes a much darker turn.
It does. It shifts from the theoretical structure of contracts to the literal survival of these businesses.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The text is incredibly explicit about the stakes. This mismanagement, this delay in getting the checks to the black contractors, it doesn't just cause a bad quarter.
Or minor accounting headache, no.
The source states it literally puts them out of business. It is an existential threat.
This raises an important question about the fundamental leverage disparity between a billion-dollar prime contractor and a local subcontractor.
It's David and Goliath.
Exactly. Because for a massive corporation, a delayed payment of a few $100,000 is a rounding error. They can float that money indefinitely.
But for a local subcontractor,
that same delayed payment is the difference between keeping the lights on and closing the doors forever.
Walk us through why that disparity is so fatal. Like, why does a delay in payment instantly translate to bankruptcy for a local sub?
Well, it comes down to the mechanics of cash flow on a construction site. Subcontractors are essentially required to act as short-term, zero-interest banks for the project.
Wait, zero-interest banks?
Yes. When a subcontractor is hired to install the electrical framework, they have to purchase all of the copper wire and the conduit up front.
Wow, out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they have to pay their electricians every single Friday.
Because the labor and materials can't wait for a bureaucratic review.
Exactly. The workers need to feed their families today.
So the subcontractor is floating the physical costs of the construction entirely out of their own limited cash reserves.
Right. The system relies on the prime contractor reimbursing them on a strict, timely schedule based on the percentage of work completed.
And if they don't?
If the prime contractor mismanages that flow of funds, if they delay the approval of an invoice or drag their feet, the subcontractor's cash flow instantly dries up.
But their expenses don't stop.
Never.
They are squeezed between the real-time demands of payroll and the delayed reimbursement from the prime contractor.
And smaller, local businesses like the Black Contractors the association is stepping up for, they simply do not have the massive institutional credit lines to weather a 6-month payment delay on a mega project.
No way.
Once they drain their own accounts, paying their workers for labor they haven't been reimbursed for, the business collapses.
The irony embedded in this dynamic is just staggering.
It really is tragic.
You have this monumental project, a presidential library, which inherently relies on the narrative of community uplift, local labor, historic progress.
Yeah, that's the whole selling point to the city.
Yet, through the simple administrative mismanagement of subcontracts, the project acts as a vacuum, actively destroying the very local businesses it hired to build it.
The project creates a devastating paradox. A local business owner secures a contract on a historic economic boom, assuming it will secure their family's financial future.
And instead, participation in the project drives them into bankruptcy.
The system forces the smallest entities to carry the heaviest real-time financial risk, while the entities managing the paperwork are shielded from both the financial ruin and the public blame.
That reality makes the association's demand for future sanctions incredibly clear.
It really reframes it.
If unpaid work puts you out of business, a retroactive settlement is entirely useless.
Yet you cannot revive a bankrupt company with a check that finally clears 6 months after you had to lay off all your workers.
And sell all your equipment.
Exactly. A single settlement merely band-aids the immediate crisis while leaving the structural machinery intact to crush the next wave of local subcontractors.
So by demanding those future sanctions, the association is attempting to dismantle the machinery itself.
They are drawing a hard line in the sand, arguing that prime contractors must face existential threats to their own future bids if they continue to operate in a way that poses an existential threat to the local workforce.
It is a battle over the fundamental power dynamics of how we build things in this country. So let's pull all of these threads together for you, the listener, because we have navigated through a surprisingly dense set of mechanics from the source material today.
We really did. We started by looking at the immediate conflict the National Black Contractors Association of America, utilizing grassroots coordination with their Chicago affiliates, to demand unpaid wages from Turner Construction on the Obama Library site.
Right. We then explored the strategic depth of their demands, realizing that the push for future sanctions was designed to target systemic behavioral patterns rather than just settling a single invoice.
And from there, we dove into Abdurrahim Hamid's breakdown of the blame game.
Which revealed the incredible public relations asymmetry of the industry. The marquee owners take the reputational hits from the public, while the prime contractors responsible for the actual administrative mismanagement of the funds operate behind an invisible shield of middle management.
And finally, we confronted the brutal, ground-level reality of that mismanagement.
Yeah, the real human cost.
For the local black subcontractors floating the costs of labor and materials, a delayed payment isn't an inconvenience. It's a fatal disruption to their cash flow that drives them completely out of business.
It highlights how administrative execution in a corporate office directly dictates the survival of small businesses in the local community.
It's all connected.
For you listening, we hope this deep dive gives you a completely new lens to view the physical world around you.
Because it's happening everywhere.
It is. The next time you are walking past a massive construction site in your city, or the next time you scroll past a headline detailing a high-profile building delay or a budget controversy, we challenge you to look past the beautiful architectural rendering on the plywood fence.
Look past the famous agency or foundation name attached to the project.
Ask yourself who is operating the central valve of the capital in the middle. And are the local businesses physically carrying the risk, actually receiving the lifeblood they need to survive?
Look for the hidden mechanics.
Exactly. Which brings us to a final lingering thought for you to mull over. We spent a lot of time today exploring Hamid's insight about owners unfairly absorbing the public relations damage caused by prime contractors.
Right. The owners take all the heat.
So if you are one of these major agencies and your legacy is constantly being threatened by controversies over unpaid local workers, how long will you tolerate the current system?
That is a very good question.
Will we see a near future where these massive owners completely abandon the traditional three-tier hierarchy? Will they start bypassing the prime contractors entirely, choosing to manage the logistics and pay the local subcontractors directly, just to ensure their shiny facade isn't tarnished by the mismanagement of a middleman?
It's something to think about.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.